Hey fellas, what's up? Long time no video. I know I put an update for you guys a couple weeks ago. Things have been nuts. I'm gonna give you a walk around on what I've been doing, and then we're gonna show you what I am doing. So we got a couple things in the shop here. Got a Boss 7.5 foot sport duty plow. That's going on Andy's truck. He's got an 07 GMC Sierra half ton. So we got everything put on yesterday, and I'm glad I didn't video it because I probably would have had 12 hours of video and a lot of editing to do as far as profanity. So that's done. We just got to trim out the plastic in the bumper. You can see some PCs on the floor there, so that this will be able to reach the mounting bracket on the truck side. Okay, so we got that going on. In this box we have a set of GM headlights for the 99 to 06 Chevy pickup, Suburban, Yukon, whatever. Those are for the Suburban outside, which I think I showed you. I still got body work to do, but we've switched to plan B. We got the 8-foot plow on the Super Duty, my V plow, but we'll give you a little looky-see on what has transpired on the Suburban. This is a Hinneker 7.5 foot straight blade. And there's the undercarriage right there, the electrical plugs for the lighting and the pump and controls. And again, I apologize for not making videos of this stuff. I've been scrambling. Western 1000 salt spreader on the back. This truck really needs some help to keep that plow up in the air because it's really too heavy for the truck, but that's what they had it on before. So here's the plow. It's in nice shape too. Hinneker, doesn't say, but it's a 7.5 footer at any rate. They got the trip springs on the back, like yeah. But yeah, that's what's been going on. Did a little cleanup around here. I was gonna grab the camera last weekend and I realized it wasn't in the truck. I also apologize for any wind noise out here. It's been kind of breezy. It's in the 30s, as you can tell from my Carhartts that I'm wearing, my overalls. So I've just been doing some cleanup, and we got a dumpster full, and I had a bunch of crap back here, scrap steel I cleaned up. Got a salt spreader hopper if anybody wants or needs one for old style Myers or Byers square box style. This is where I'm putting that shed, kind of out in this area here. I was cleaning up along the building. Let me show you my scrap hoard here. It probably isn't worth 75 bucks, but I got quite a bit of shit in the truck. I usually tell people when I'm running scrap, so if they want to get rid of anything, they just drop it off. So we got that going. So today, it's build the shed time. Now, disclaimer, I am not a carpenter. What I know about carpentry, I've learned from others and on YouTube. So this is functional, maybe not exactly how I should build it, but I've seen a couple other people build sheds this way on YouTube, so I kind of just took the idea and I'm sort of running with it. So what we're gonna do, basically building what would appear to be a wall. It's 8 foot by 8 foot to the outside dimensions, so it'll fit 2 4x8 sheets of plywood on it when I'm done. Right now what I've done, these outside pieces of 2x4, everything that's ground level is going to be pressure treated, including the plywood. That's an 8 footer. The ones that fit in between are 93 inches. Okay, that'll give you 8 foot by 8 foot. Now when you buy lumber to make walls inside a house, your studs, if you don't buy them pre-cut, or I should say if you do buy them pre-cut, will be 92 and 5/8 roughly. And that's to allow for your sheeting and for your drywall to not hit the floor at the bottom. So you have that little extra buffer. This is a floor, so we're building it kind of like a deck, if you understand that. So we're going to have this square frame. It's going to be studded every 16 inches like a stud wall to carry the load of the floor. And then this whole apparatus here, the floor structure, will sit on treated 4x4s that are 8 foot long. That will allow me to put my extended pallet forks under this and move it with the skid steer. So right now what I'm doing is I'm finishing up. I started building the outside and then decided to grab the camera. So that's what I've done so far. So outsides, top and bottom plate are 8 footers. Inside studs are 93 inches. Will give you your 8 foot by 8 foot dimension. So I'm zipping down these 8 footers inside, or to put inside for my joists, whatever you want to call them. They're going to be joists. So it's sort of built like a wall, sort of built like a deck because it's pressure treated lumber. We're using the old power miter saw setup. Got a nice old DeWalt table that I inherited from my pops. So basically what we're going to do is just zip these off. Eye protection is a good idea, and I'm not sure where my eyes are, so we're going to run with this, and we're going to double measure that because I made a little hash mark on there, but I want to make sure, you know, measure twice, cut once sort of thing. At 93 inches. I'm getting some sort of skewed view of this here. Okay. Now you don't have to use a square on it because in theory the table of the saw should be your square. And we're only cutting the wall, but you know me, Captain Overkill, so gloves are a good idea too. I just stuck a little splinter in my finger. So inch that up to the saw blade, make sure it's tight against the fence. Keep your hands out of the way. Clamp it if you want. So that's basically that. I'm going to go through this process and I'm going to rip. I think I have 2 or 3 more of these pieces of lumber to rip, and then we're going to put it all together. I'll also show you something else before I get ready to go ahead and assemble the floor. Okay, so I made a hash mark at every 16 inches, and that will be the right side of the stud on this, and it'll be the left side of the stud at the other end, so that they're spaced every 16 inches. Now, because this is not a wall, it's a floor, it works out to be kind of a bastard setup, because what happens is from your last stud to here, your 16 on center actually ends up being the outside of this stud. But you got to remember, if this was a wall, it would have a plate on top of it, which would make up that gap. Okay, and you space your plywood at that, you know, where the bottom of the wall, you would space it up a little bit off the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the rest of those cut. I'll bring you guys back when I'm starting to pop some nails in that, so we'll talk to you guys in a couple of minutes. Alright guys, I've got all the center joists cut, and I've been assembling on the far side there, and I'm down to this side. I'm down to my last 2, and basically I'm working on a little bit of an uneven concrete floor. It's got some cracks in it. So before I put the floor joists in, I've got a couple of shims that I'm sticking under just to flush that board with the top. I don't care what the bottom's like because the sheeting's going on this side. We're going to level it up after we get it installed. So basically I just put my little shims underneath my wood, decide what my height needs to be. I pre-marked the studs, but just in case the others, when I nailed the other side, it made these jump. You can measure, I guess, center to center on the studs and make sure you're at 16, or you measure from the far side to the near side and it should measure 16. And I'm lining up with my marks. Let's talk a little bit about nail guns and safety. This is a this will take up to 3.5 inch nails. It's a Boss Stitch. I borrowed it. Most nailers are similar. It's got this cleated part that grabs it for framing if you're putting in toenails and stuff. But you can see I've got my safety glasses at this point. Now I'm using the nailer. I just didn't know where I set them down. Got some gloves on. Just beware of where your hands and feet are at all times when you're using a nailer. Accidents happen. Okay, there's that one, and then we only have one more to do. And then we're probably going to leave this roll for you guys. Because we're going to set it up on the 4x4s. And then we'll square this whole contraption up to make sure that we're not all skewed. Okay, so that part is now complete. I always disconnect the air when I'm moving around in the shop from a nailer or anything. You know, they have a safety on them, but basically disconnecting the air makes things a little safer. Okay, we'll get you guys in the shot here. Now what I'm going to do, we're going to set these 8-foot 4x4s running perpendicular to the joists. Again, this project's going to be close to square, but it will be working. And I don't care. Now you can see kind of what this whole structure is going to be sitting up on. Yeah, I have to take that one a little bit. It's fighting me. But you get the gist of it. You get the idea. I'm not a carpenter. I'm a carpenter. But however you can learn to do something. Save yourself a few bucks. I looked at buying prefabricated sheds. It just did not seem like a feasible thing for me. I did not want to assemble one. If I'm going to assemble it, I'm going to build it. So that's what we got. Sort of out of breath here. It's cold out. Okay. So what I'm going to do now that we've got the 8-foot 4x4 in the middle and on the ends, we're going to set this one halfway, so center line of this will be at 4 foot, and then the outside two will be flush. All right, they're not sitting flush now, of course. We got to square them up, and I will probably use either timber lock fasteners, or I will pre-drill a hole for a lag bolt to bolt the 2x4 to that guy, and then when I'm all done, I will take and put blocking in here and measure this before I nail this center one down, just to make sure that these 2x4s, you can look at them, that my joists have got a little weeble wobble in them. This is all pressure treated lumber. They're not perfect. I don't care. It's all for the floor. I've got pressure treated plywood to go over it, just to keep it from getting eat up with critters and stuff. So we'll bring you guys back once that's done. All right, guys, I'm back. I decided to trim down the 4x4s underneath. They were not just a little over 8 foot, so I like things flush, so I cut them. Now I've got them underneath. The middle one is not quite centered up, but what I'm working on is making sure this contraption here, the floor, is square. So the way I do it, right, wrong, or indifferent, is I will measure corner to corner. Whether you measure inside or outside, it's probably better to measure inside corner to inside corner, just in case your lumber was cut a little funky. But I'm going to measure outside to outside. So I'm 135 and 11/16 maybe, between 5/8 and 11/16. We'll measure the other way. And we're at 135 3/4. So we're about 1/8 off. And all you do to correct that is pick one side that you're trying to match. I'm actually trying to get a little shorter on one side, so I just give it a little tap and it'll bring the whole unit out of being square, and that'll do it. So that's, I mean, 1/8 of an inch is close enough for me, so I'm happy. I mean, if you're 1/2 an inch off, I'd probably start playing with it. So that's what we're gonna do. I don't have fasteners here. I thought I did. My timber locks are 10 inchers, and well, you're going through 2 pieces of 3.5. That only gets you to 7. So I suppose I could angle them in, but I'm gonna go pick up some shorter fasteners. But in the meantime, all I'll do is take the nailer and toenail this to those 4x4 skids on the bottom, just to keep it from moving. So we'll do that. And then I'll bring you back for some more live footage. Alright guys, next up, what I'm doing, I already had the 4x4s underneath here, I think in the last shot. After I toenailed it to secure the squareness of this, which I talked about, we're going to secure the top of this floor joist setup to those 4x4s with what I call timber lock fastener. I think you guys can see those. Those are 6 inchers. And if you think about it, you got a 3.5 inch 2x4 and a 3.5 inch 4x4 underneath there. So that's 7 inches, and a 6 incher if you pull it down a little bit so that it's countersunk a little. That's perfect. I had to go buy them. All I had was 10 inches, which are way, way too big. I'm using my impact driver with a 5/16 nut driver in it. I'll show that to you here in a second. I'm going to drive a couple of them for you. I also pre-drilled the holes through the 2x4, probably 80% of the depth. I find that on pressure treated lumber, if it's not real wet, these fasteners don't slide through there real easy. There's the impact driver, that kind. So I just pre-drill them a little bit. I use these for building, if somebody wants an inexpensive like timber wall, I'll build these with the 10 inches length ones, and they work awesome. I've never had a wall come apart. I've had some of them up 10 years and they're not even moving. But you don't go real high with them either, you know, like a 18-inch wall or something like that. Just something quick. Still split that one. That 2x4 was an ugly 2x4 to begin with. If they're sticking up a little, it won't hurt anything. That sheeting will suck down right on top of them. That'll be my last one. I did 4 per side, just kind of eyeballed them, just something to hold that 2x4, even though I had it, or 4x4 to the bottom, just even though I had it toe nailed. so this is what we got so far. I'm gonna grab the sheeting and bring it in. I'll flip the camera back on so you guys can see how I do that part, but that's basically it. You can see how those fasteners went in right there and went down into that 4x4, so that's all held together good. You can see I missed a nail there. But I think 12 of those will hold this bad boy together. I could have put lag bolts in it, but that seemed like overkill. So we'll bring you guys back for the sheeting. All right, I've set the plywood on here and checked it for squareness, just like I did with the joist framework underneath. And what I did, just to get to this point so we keep it square, I put a nail in this far corner and then flushed it up the best I could on that side, set the second sheet on, and then did my diagonal measurements again real quick, just to make sure I was real close, and I was. The last thing I did was I took a chalk line, and you can see on the sides of this, every place that I nailed a joist in through the sides. So I took a chalk line and snapped the chalk line across, and those are my nail marks. That's where I'll go with the nailer. So we're going to bang some nails in this real quick. It won't take very long, but you get the idea. And that's where we'll be at for today. Got the old safety glasses ready to go here. I'm going to put a couple nails on the outside. Okay. Now, as for the center, because we had an odd number measurement for the width of this, it was exactly 8 foot. The center joist had to be doubled up, which I forgot to tell about earlier, but now the sheeting's over it. So I just had sister one on the side of it. So each one of these will work out perfect. And that's the end of my nail. So we'll stop it right there. Get the idea. If you have plywood that's kind of bowed up or humped up in the middle, put that hump going up toward the top. The nails will suck it right down, or if you're screwing it, however you choose to attach it. But now the floor is pretty much completely done. A couple more nails. So that's it for today. You guys got kind of a long video. So until next time, we'll catch you later. See ya.